My ancestors have been here for centuries. My father, why, he was a wheel. The first wheel. Do you know what he transformed into? Nothing! But he did so with honor, dignity, talent.
Bruh. It's 2009. You've just watched the cinematic masterpiece, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and you need a piece of plastic to commemorate this occasion. And you go to the store and all you see are these transformers that transform. I don't know how to transform things. That's hard. That's like a baby's toy. Plus, I hate all forms of vehicles, so I definitely don't want any vehicles in my house. Well, lucky for me, we've got Transformers Robot Replicas Jetfire. So this guy right here is a non-transforming transformer. He's just a robot replica of the robot. There's no transformation involved. This is just a toy, just an action figure. So if you were more into, say, a Marvel Legends or whatever was out at the time, I don't remember if they were making Marvel Legends at the time, this is what you wanted. It didn't transform. You didn't have to waste any time putting pieces and doing little vehicle things. We didn't do any of that. We just played with this thing here. Now, I never had any of these when I was a kid. I actually didn't have any Transformers toys when I was a kid. I was kind of dumb. I thought, Transformers, that's for babies. I want to buy NECA and Mezco horror toys when I was a preteen. So I was really stupid then, just like I am now. And I didn't buy any Transformers. I've actually never really held or touched these. I always felt like they were going to be kind of gummy. I don't know why, but something about the plastic, these looked like it wasn't going to be very satisfying to play with. It just felt kind of, it just seemed like it was going to feel very gummy and mushy, which is kind of how people describe the red figures that came out years later. So maybe I was onto something. So we're going to rip this open and have a play. You're going to get my live reaction here ripping this open. First of all, just take a look at the box. You've got the back of the box. You've got Megatron, Bumblebee, and Skids. And they didn't make Mud Flaps. It was just Skids who got a robot replica, not Mud Flap. Isn't that weird? My God, you're going to open a sealed robot replica's Jetfire? That thing, you should be getting that graded. That's AFA grade Mid-Gem Mint 10. Well, this is a toy channel. This isn't a box channel. We open our toys on this channel, and I'm going to play with them because I'm a grown man playing with useless plastic toys. Hope you're digging the jacket, by the way. It's kind of my Oasis tribute to the reunion. My screen turned off. This is honestly, I'm starting to like get a little bit pained by this, having to rip this open. I don't know why, because I want to play with them, but it just feels like I'm doing something naughty. All right, we got to do it. Let's just go. It's not that chicken that you can save out of there. Here he comes. He's awakening just like in the film. I got hit with a wave of scent. That's air that's been in there for 16 years, just being unleashed right in my face. There he is. He's looking pretty cute. He's free. First immediate reaction is kind of moving him around. Obviously Jetfire is a character design. It's going to be somewhat limited as far as he's never going to be a hyper-articulated figure, but just it feels a lot better than I thought it would. Just look at that cute face though, if I can get the camera focused. Look, I mean, you gotta love this old bugger. He's struggling to get his cane out of the packaging right now. I feel like I'm gonna break it. Probably should have taken some pictures of him in the packaging for the thumbnail, but I already ripped it open. Having a little bit of a play with Jetfire, he's an interesting figure in the Robot Replicas line because his character design just doesn't really suit what the line was going for. If you wanted these hyper-articulated, accurate representations of Bumblebee and Optimus and characters like Jazz doing flips and spin kicks and backflips and things like that, Jetfire is not that. He's not that as a character, and he's not that as a design. So in a line of characters where it was designed to be about how articulated they can get, Jetfire's essentially the only thing he can do is be different degrees of hunched over. Yeah, you know, Jetfire, he is pretty neat. I mean, he is an old man with a cane, so you're not expecting him to be hyper-articulated or doing any cool ninja flips. It's a pretty cool little figure of Jetfire. These are really cheap. I think I won it for like, wait a minute. Who's this little guy back here? That's right, we got a bonus skids. So in my search for robot replicas on eBay, I also spotted that you could get I mean these are all really cheap, but skids is also like, this is probably one of the more common ones you see. Obviously, his Chevy Spark alt mode is the coolest in Revenge of the Fallen. So that him not being able to transform into the Chevy Spark does detract a lot from his appeal. But I mean, speaking of cute guys, I mean, look at that. You gotta love that boy right there.
Before time began, there was the cube.
When I said that Jetfire seemed like he was gonna be gummy and kind of mushy feeling, and he wasn't, Skids kind of is. This might be due to the fact that he's old and was used, where Jetfire's straight out of the packaging, but just moving him feels bad. It feels gushy, it feels mushy, and it also feels like he's gonna break whenever I just move one of his joints around. It feels like things are gonna start snapping. But I mean, the cool thing about this guy, I had him standing next to my Masterpiece Optimus, NPM Optimus, and he actually scales pretty well. I know we're never going to get official Hasbro, Takara, Masterpiece versions of Skids and Mudflap. This is like a cheap way to get, you can't get Mudflap like this, but this is a cheap way to get Skids at least.
Yeah, the more you play with these guys, the more you realize there's just not a lot to say about them. They're kind of, they are what they are. And that's not to say they're bad, they're just, they are what they are. There's not really a lot you have to review about them. Jetfire's articulation essentially comes down to how hunched over do you want him and hitting people with his cane. The fact that he's missing out on that really cool SR-71 Blackbird alt mode though does kind of limit the appeal of this figure. You know, Jetfire, he might be one of the worst examples for a character in a line of hyper-articulated figures because his design is just so inherently hard to get an articulation for. But I mean, there's some funness to be had with him just by whacking people over the head with his cane. So, you know, that's always a feature to me. On the other hand, you might think would be a better representation of line, but just because it might be my copy, but he just feels really gross to play with. I mean, it's almost fitting for the character. Genuinely baffled by the character design for Skids and Mudflap. It's just so unappealing to so many people. Despite all of that, or maybe because of all that, I still find Skids and Mudflap weirdly appealing in a way. Like, they're really ugly robots based on really shitty cars. And that just really just, I don't know why, it just appeals to me in some deep way. Video is about Jetfire, not Skids, as much as we love him. And in saying that, Jetfire is pretty cool. I'd probably pick him up if you see him for a couple bucks. He's just a neat little toy to have, you know, have him on your desk, just sitting there. He doesn't do much, you know, he's not super articulated. You know, that's not really a bad thing with Jetfire. He's an old man. He just wants to be an old dude. He's all right. I mean, again, I just like the fact that he is shitty. If he was really good, it would be almost like unbecoming of the character. So I'm glad that he feels kind of gross, because he is kind of gross.
And that's just about going to do it for my very brief look at robot replicas. There's a lot of other guys. I'll probably pick them up if I ever see them, because it'd be kind of a neat collection to complete, because they're generally pretty cheap, if not the easiest to find. But yeah, I would say Jetfire, he's pretty cool. I like the character, so anything Jetfire is going to be appealing to me. I like the design a lot. He's got a really cool alt mode, even though you don't really see it with this guy. That's still okay. Yeah, Skids, you know, it's Skids. It's a robot. It's a replica of Skids. It's done its job. You know, he's green.
Do 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 do.